Good morning. I'm just getting to work,
Hi.
so I'm not going to turn my video on. I'm driving.
Okay, sounds good. No worries. The right. Matthew, you look like you're ready to do a podcast.
Yep. Gotta keep the sound quality up.
Yeah, good.
Every
So,
everybody's the YouTuber in a Zoom world.
yep. So let's see. I've got my notes down here, and I think I'm recording. So I'm gonna go walk through a few things about how to progress strength work. I'll start at zero, somebody not doing any strength work, and I'll progress through a few different phases that may or may not be necessary for everybody. And then I'll talk about some ideas on what not to do with your strength training. And I got a little gym tour. I've seen Matthew, a fellow, YouTube connoisseur. I'm sure you've seen the thumbnails. Here's my $50,000 home gym tour. Things like that. Well, here's my $200 home gym tour, maybe $200. And so, and then if somebody's struggling with doing strength training, I'll go over some ideas on how you can easily get strength work in and not have it be hard, not have it consume a lot of time, etc. So first things first, let's start with roughly four phases of what's that progression from not doing any strength work to really dialing it in. And the first one is simple body weight routine. I think, Matthew and Erica, you've probably both started with hip phase one or something similar to it. And, with that, somebody is watching the recording and they don't really know what that is. Basically, where we're starting with hip, glute, core exercises, donkey kicks, fire hydrants, stuff like that. Body weight, no equipment's necessary, super simple. And all my clients who actually, pretty much every single client I've ever worked with has started with some variation of that, where it's a 10 to 20 minute follow along video. You do it basically based on time intervals, or once you kind of go through it a few times, you can really just do it off memory. You might not do it perfectly. That's fine. It doesn't matter. And you do it to failure or to momentary failure with every movement. Once you kind of can go through that, and eventually it might start to be not terribly effective because you've gained some strength over 1 or 2 months of doing just body weight. You can progress to adding some resistance. And so bands are a great way to do this. This is something I take with me when I travel because it takes up no space. You can also, and this is something I've only really started doing recently, is I've started using dumbbells with the same routine, but I'll put a dumbbell behind my knee and I'll start doing that. And that's been really good. I've also started doing some exercises with a weighted vest. And I actually got this for like $15 from Goodwill online. There's no way they made money selling me this with I don't shipping was like $10. So they probably even lost money on this, seriously. And it's heavy. So adding a little bit of weight to the simple body weight routines is an incredibly easy second step. The third step, and this is one that you don't want to start doing right away, but you can start sprinkling in a little bit. But it's plyometrics, it's jumping exercises. And the easiest way to really just kind of start doing this, oh, I'm gonna have to lift this again, is with a jump rope that I have in here. And what I'll say with that is when you buy it, if you're going to do it outdoors, make sure you buy an outdoor jump rope. 'Cause if you use an indoor jump rope outdoors, it'll tear it up and it's going to be a waste of money. So, but simple jumping rope, there's actual literature showing that simply having runners jump rope will make them better runners. And it really just helps you with ground contact time, with your body to brain interaction, and how well you interact with the ground, also how well you leave the ground, how well you can stabilize your lower leg, foot, and ankle strength. And so you can start with just jumping rope. You can I have my runners do something called the easiest warm-up routine in the world. It's jogging in place, and it's just some skips, some hops, stuff like that makes for a really good warm-up routine. What I've started doing is the day before my harder or my longer runs, I'll do a dedicated 10 or 15 minute plyometric routine. And you will have sore calves the first few times you do this. If you do it a little longer than you've been doing, because it's a lot of jumping. Yesterday, for example, I came back from my run. I'm doing a running workout today. So yesterday was easy and strides. Yesterday, during the run, I did plyometrics. I would just stop every mile or so and just do some plyometrics to mix up the easy run. And then when I got back home, I did some plyometrics during my walk back, cool down, and I finished it off by jumping up my stairs. I would jump up 2 steps, jump down 1, jump up 2 steps. And so simple like that. You can do it structured, where sometimes I do a 15-minute structured plyometric routine, and sometimes I sprinkle them in to my regular runs. And I like to do these again the day before my harder or my longer runs to kind of prep the legs for that workout to come the next day. Now, you got to be mindful of this, is that if you're just starting these, you might want to be mindful of, you might have sore calves the next day. So something to keep in mind. But we've got body weight, simple routines, phase 1. We've got adding some resistance to those, phase 2. Eventually getting into some jumping exercises. If you have somebody locally who they ran cross country in school, you might have them show you how to do some actual running drills. They are good to do if you have somebody to show you in person how to do them, because they can be kind of complicated sometimes, but once you just are taught how to do them, they're simple to do as well. And then step 4 is actually lifting weights. And this is something that a lot of my runners don't do. If they do, it's once or twice a week. And we're not lifting weights to bulk up, but it's nice to just not be a scrawny, weak runner. And so, I joke that if I can help my clients not tweak their back the first time they go shovel the sidewalk outside in the fall after it snows that first time, that's awesome. And so when it comes to this, a lot of mistakes are made. I think a lot of people, they think that lifting weights should be complicated, should take a long time. You might need to go to the gym and lift with the bros. And so none of that's true. And I'll touch base on that in a second. When it comes to lifting weights for running performance, I think that for 90% of people, it's not necessary. You can hold weights while doing some strength movements, but you don't need to go to the gym and do like a dedicated 30-minute strength routine. If you want to take it to a next level, yes, if you have the time, if you have the energy, if you want to go do that, you can. But 90% of people, myself included, will get 90% of their potential and 100% of what they need by just doing some stuff here at home. And so misconceptions, things to not do. It's a misconception that you're going to bulk up. I've been lifting weights for over 2 decades, and look at me. So, what bulked me up, Erica entered the waiting room. Is that a different Erica? Oh, it's you again. You're switching screens. Yeah. And so, what bulked me up was not lifting weights. What bulked me up was eating Oreos and living off of Doritos and Mountain Dew. That's what bulked me up. And so, lifting weights, unless you're eating a ton of calories and a ton of protein, you're not going to bulk up. You're just going to get stronger and you're not going to get hurt as easily. And so, also thinking that size equals strength is a complete misconception. We talked about plyometrics and how jumping will make you stronger, but it's not going to increase your muscle size by any means. And so most of the strength work I do is dedicated towards increasing or maintaining my strength, but it's thinking in mind like picking up my 3-year-old a dozen times a day, shoveling the sidewalk, doing yard work, helping my friend move next month. That's what my strength work is for. And with that, most of my clients, I think Erica and Matthew, you do both of these things, you both do this roughly, where it's, I'll pick a 15-minute upper body Tabata routine on YouTube, and it's 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest for 15 minutes, no rest. And doing something like that twice a week, it takes a half hour. You might not even work up a sweat. And I've had a client in Salt Lake City. She brought weights into her office at work. And I told her, just like, nobody's going to know if you do a 10-minute upper body routine. You're not, like I said, you're not going to work up a sweat. Yeah. And Erica knows about shutting the office door, I'm sure, and getting something done.
My whole corner's full of weights and bands.
Yeah,
Right here.
cool. Awesome. And so, doing that, like I said, nobody's going to know if you're doing 10 minutes of strength work at work. And if that's what it takes to get it done, you're going to be glad you get it done. And so, another misconception or something I recommend my clients don't go to the gym. If they have a gym membership, and they don't really love going to the gym, I really recommend canceling the gym membership. Like, you don't need to spend that commute time to the gym. You don't need to do any of that. You don't need to spend the money on the gym membership. I'll go through my stuff later, but I got almost all of this for free or from like consignment or Goodwill or something like that. And so you don't need to go to the gym unless you really want to, and that's okay. But most runners, they don't really want to. And so I think, what would it look like if it were easy? And it's not driving to the gym, that's for sure. Don't think that strength work needs to be time consuming. I almost never spend more than 15 minutes at one time doing strength work ever. And like I said, I'm not trying to bulk up. I'm not trying to get into the Olympics or anything like that. I'm just trying to get a little faster and not get hurt, basically. And don't think it needs to be complicated. I do basically the same 30 movements every single time. I do variations of each one and variations of the routines, and I'm adding weights, doing more reps. And that's how a progression can be made. You don't need muscle memory. It's not really a thing. It's just do the movements until failure and do them frequently, consistently. And that's going to be enough. And you can do the same routines roughly over and over again, as long as you're still doing it and you're not wanting the novelty of new things. And the number one thing is, like, don't wait to do it. Don't not do it. If there's one thing that's a good indicator of, longevity and being healthy as we age, it's not running. It's your strength. It's your grip strength is a indicator. It's how well can you move? And when somebody's concerned with longevity, running's great, being active is great, but strength work is definitely the priority. And that's mostly how I look at strength work is, yeah, I don't want my runners to get hurt while running, but I really just don't want them to get hurt in general. And having a higher quality of life just by not being weak is always a win. And so gym tour here, this is all I have. It's so simple. I've got a couple. You can see balance boards right here and right here. And this one is just an Amazon Basics one, super simple. It was like maybe $20. I'm not even sure. And I don't use those very often, but I'll do on the balance board where I can have a slope and stand on it. I can do squats all the way down, and it just makes it a little easier to have my heels up a little bit. Weights, I haven't actually picked this up in over a year because I just use these. I bought these for Quincy and they're like 2 pounds. 2 pounds. I bought them for Quincy so he had something to lift um, while I was doing my stuff, and he's enjoyed those. But they're like 2, maybe 5, 15, and these 45s were free. My buddy down the street had them, and he's like, Kyle, I've not lifted these. Do you want them? And I'm like, sure, that sounds great. I thought I would pick them up, like I would drive my car and put them in he's a quarter mile away. I thought I would like drive my car and pick him up and put him in the trunk. One day we were meeting for a group run, and he's walking down the street carrying these in his hands, and he yelled for help. And so he's like, Kyle, I've stopped twice already. And so we had to work together to carry these a quarter mile to my house, and both of our arms and shoulders were sore the next day. But they're good for like farmer carries or shrugs. So very much just like picking stuff up is a lot of what I do with these. And these are the ones I pretty much use almost every time. And I can put them behind my knee. I can lift them and work my upper body and my core with a 15-minute upper body Tabata routine, something like that. So 15 pounds is good for me. I've got my weighted vest, which I pulled out. I've got some bands. And then this mat right here hangs behind my door when I'm not using it. That's it. I doubt like the weights I found at a thrift store for like $35. They just basically wanted me to take them. And so it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be expensive. And if you're struggling with getting the strength work in, things to keep in mind, you can do it as a warm up or a cool down before or after your runs. You're already in your running gear. You're already going to get sweaty. This is something both of you do, like do it concurrently with your runs sometimes, where, do it after your run, do it as a warm up. I had a guy in Ireland, I think, he would not do his strength work, not even like after his runs. And so we figured out he would do them during his runs. And that's actually when I started having my runners, and I picked this up because I kind of enjoy it myself. I'll do my strength work during my runs. I've got a track 1 mile away. I'll run to the track. I'll go through some body weight stuff. I'll do a lap around the park. It's exactly a mile. I'll do some body weight stuff, and I'll run back home. That's 3 miles. I'll do some body weight stuff. 3 miles, 3 different segments of strength work, and it's done. And like if I come home and I enter the home, chances go way down I'm going to do my strength training, honestly, even for me. So I'll do it during the run, or I'll do it at the park across the street. And yeah, I'm sometimes I'm the weirdo in the short shorts doing squats at the park, but I don't really care. And I've actually had people tell me, hey, good job, like good, it's great you're doing strength work. And if people do care in a negative way, they can go suck an egg. And so get it done. Whatever you need to do, you'll be glad to do it. And you can do it before or during, you can do it after. I have some accountability groups set up with my clients and for people that are struggling with getting the strength work in. And so having an accountability group somehow, whether it's you have a fellow running friend who will help, who needs to do some strength work, check in with them every other day. Send them a selfie that you're doing your strength work, and having that type of accountability can help. Going to classes can be really nice, especially if you can find something that's a little more running specific, Pilates, something that maybe is on your feet for strength training, and you have some jumping options. Doing something like that can be a really nice option because you stop in on to the studio on the way home. And if you're ideally, if you prepay for the classes, so you've already paid for 12 classes, like we have Quincy and swimming lessons, and where we paid for every class. And so if you don't pay upfront for all the classes, it's easy to skip them. And so, see if you can sign up for like a 12-week strength class. Something like that is going to be way more effective because you're way more likely to actually go than if it's just like, oh, I have a membership at the studio and I might go and I might not. It doesn't matter. And so seeing if you can get into an actual 12-week program, or one of the PT studios here, they have they'll have running specific strength classes for a duration of time. So something like that is incredibly helpful. And obviously, both of getting a coach, having somebody tell you what to do, having somebody with some expectations of you is always going to be one of the best options. And, I've invested in coaches, in accountability groups, more recently, and, having some help, some guidance, some expectations with a coach and with a group, helping me just do something I know I want to do, and I'm having trouble actually doing it is an awesome investment. So that's what I got. I journaled on this morning and I wrote down, I think I covered everything. So if Matthew or Erica, you have any thoughts, happy to open up the mic for you guys.
I got two comments. This I think this is good advice for resuming weight training, which is my situation. Yesterday I did 5 minutes of calves. I didn't record it on Strava because it was just 5 minutes. I just wanted to do something so that I was doing something again. The other thing that weight training might help with, which might actually motivate me to resume being disciplined about weight training again, is last marathon I ran and last two long runs I did. But like an hour in, my back hurts, which probably means I got weak core probably. So I should be doing some core training, probably just muscle strengthening in general.
Do I have the McGill routine in for your calendar yet?
You might.
That's not a
my life went from nonstop drama to now it's not drama, but it's a lot of change. So I'm finally getting my habits back into place. So I'll have to admit, I haven't been paying close attention to the exact text of the weight training ones. But I have resumed. Last week I think I've done more weight training than I have in the last couple of months. I did one resuming weightlifting, no, it was just body weight, and I did a 20-minute lower body routine that I've done before a year ago, and yeah, I was aching for the rest of the week. So
nice.
Yeah, once you get to the resuming weight training, it can feel a lot like doing it for the first time ever, except for you got the knowledge, you just don't have the muscle strength that you used to have. It disappears fast.
Yeah, it does. And even if you are doing it, if you do something new, like I did, I remember, I'll never forget. This was years ago. We were in Santiago, Chile, house sitting for a month. And I discovered that if you do if you do lunges and you reach forward and touch the ground at the bottom of every lunge, it really hits your like high hamstring, your glute. And I'll never forget like doing those. And it was after a run, and I cramped up like in the sidewalk doing these. And then the next day was even worse. And I just totally underestimated just this one simple extra movement and how much like I can't believe I cramped up like in the middle of the sidewalk there. And then the next day was rough as well. So, just little progressions here and there is okay. Erica, you got anything?
No, I think for me, the thing is trying to fit it in little increments like you were talking about. And I need to just get back to doing that because there's something about running for me that's very meditative and relax. It like gets me out of my work brain and I kind of can, and weights don't do that same thing for me. So I feel like I don't get that, I don't know, that mental release. So I'm
Mhm.
not as motivated to do it because I'm like, I'd rather go get on the treadmill than
Yep.
do the weights. So I need to figure out how to get back to doing a little bit here and there and just working it in around the running part because I just don't get that same enjoyment out of it, but I feel good
Mhm.
doing it. I'm always glad I do it and I
Yeah.
want to do it, but it's just not the same. Like I can't just tune out and go do it. And you got to really think about what you're doing and switch
Mhm.
up and or follow a video. And I'm like, so I lose
Yeah.
my motivation when
So
it comes to that.
understand like weights don't give you that high like a run does. It doesn't give you that quiet time or the meditate. I like to say running is the most active form of meditation, and strength work doesn't do that for me. But what it does do for me is it wakes me up in the afternoon. And so something I will often do is if it's a day where I want to do some sort of strength training, what I'll do is I'll pull this mat down off my door and I'll put it right here in the middle of the room and I'll put my two 15-pound dumbbells right here in the middle of the room. And so I have to walk over them or around them every single time I come in the room. And that's it's I'm prepping my future self, my future environment. I do this in the morning. So I'm prepping my future self to make it easy to do strength work. And so I don't forget. Sometimes, honestly, I'll just forget to do strength work. It's just not on my mind. And so having dumbbells, just two 15-pound dumbbells right here keeps that top of mind. And I'll just do a 10-minute upper body Tabata routine in the afternoon to wake me up, honestly, to pep me up a little bit for the rest of the day. Or something that I've done is, and this is, I don't know, it works, but it's probably the least effective thing is every time I enter the room, I'll pick up my dumbbells and I'll do some random upper body movement to failure. And so it's like, oh, I enter my room, I'll do side raises or something. And so it literally takes 30 seconds, put the dumbbells back down, go do my thing type of thing. And so that way, like I don't even have to stop and dedicate 10 minutes to something. And that's the least effective, but it's still more effective than doing nothing. And so, that's one way I look at strength work sometimes is it's my afternoon. I'm not going to take an afternoon nap, but if I do a 10-minute, 15-minute strength session in the afternoon, it's going to wake me up and better than a cup of coffee ever will. So something to think about. um, anything else quick, guys, gal? Cool. Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate you too. And yeah, I'm gonna go walk Quincy to daycare in a little bit. So with
Thanks,
my big
Cal.
winter jacket on, we've got a little bit of snow here, but I think it all melted. Maybe there's some still up in the hills. What about you, Erica?
Same, it's mostly melted, but it's like 10 this morning, so it's
Yeah.
a little chilly.
I think yesterday hit maybe 70, but today's going to hit 53. So yeah, it
70?
was,
Yeah, we're not
yeah,
gonna see that
yesterday.
again.
That's probably the high of the year for the rest of the year,
Wow.
honestly. But yeah, I don't think we have a day in the 60s in the 10-day forecast anymore. So, oh well, I'm ready for it. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of looking forward to it. Ran outside yesterday, it was like 32 degrees. And it's like, this is nice once in a while. I'm glad it's not year round. It's nice to have, I'm glad I have seasons. Enjoy the changing of the seasons. So you guys have a good rest of your day, whatever you have planned. And it was nice to see you, and we'll chat later.
Yep, this was fun.
Bye.
Thank you.